Al-Waleed. Wait, huh? Can you wait? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. وأصلي وأسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. We're not going to talk about an introduction to this man. This man is known as Sayfullah, the sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Dhahabi started by talking about this man as Farisul Islam, Walaythul Mashahid, Al-Sayyid al-Imam, Al-Kabir, Al-Amir al-Kabir, Qa'id al-Mujahideen. He's saying that this man is a lion and is also the Imam, the Amir, the great Amir, the leader of the Mujahideen. He is Abu Sulaiman. His nickname is Abu Sulaiman. He's from the tribe of Quraysh, from Bani Makhzum, from Quraysh. His mother is Lubaba bint Al-Harith, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's wife. Umama bint Al-Harith, it's her sister. So he's related to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in that sense. Now, Ibn Asakir said in his history, this man looks like Umar radiallahu anh. Even his age is very, very near to Umar radiallahu anh. Subhanallah, he is also as tough as Umar radiallahu anh. So he is Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed, Ibn Al-Mughira, Ibn Abdullah, Ibn Amr, Ibn Makhzum, Ibn Yaqza, Ibn Ka'b, and then he goes with the same lineage as Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This man's upbringing in Mecca is of tough way. He wasn't like any other one. He was brought in a tough way and also in a very respectable way, and was known in Mecca as the toughest fighter, radiallahu anhu wa ardah. His family, Bani Makhzum, his uncle Umayyah ibn Mughira was one of the wise people. During the feud in Mecca, after when they wanted to rebuild the Kaaba, when they reached the place where who is going to put the black stone in its position, they're about to fight each other. Now this man, Umayyah ibn Mughira, came and he said, why don't we have someone to be a judge? And we agree in his judgment. They were about to fight each other and kill each other for the honor of putting the black stone in its position. Then they said, all right. He said, how about if anyone enters the mosque from such and such door? And then they said, all right. When Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered, they agreed. This is the man who judged them. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the one, if you know the history of Islam, the seerah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was the one to place it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at the age of 35. Now, also, his uncle, Hisham ibn Mughira, is one of the leaders of Quraysh. Why would we mention the family? Because when you know the family, it's known in Arabs, when you know the family of the person, you know the person. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's family, Banu Hashim, the leaders of Quraysh and the leaders of the Arabs in Mecca. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have the characters of the leader as well. So this man, radiallahu anhu arda, was of the honorable people from Quraysh. Now, he's also known as a very good fighter. He was against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam all the way. When Muhammad started, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was against him. It was said that he contributed in the Battle of Badr, but I couldn't find any place where it's mentioned that he himself was there. It was apparent and known that he contributed in the Battle of Uhud. And subhanAllah, in the Battle of Uhud, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave specific orders to the archery. And he said to them, stay on the hill, don't move from it, so you could guard our backs. And at the beginning of the battle, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his army were actually winning the battle. And the Muslims on top of the hill, they saw that people are now collecting the booty, the war. Specific orders from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do not move it. Even when you see us, he said to them, collecting the bodies of the war, or being killed. Don't come. Stay there. So when they saw Muslims are collecting the bodies of the war, all of them went down except their leader, Abdullah radiallahu anh, who stayed there till he was killed. When Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed saw the place empty, there's no one to fear, so the back of the Muslims is now uncovered, so everyone could see them, and they are not protected. He just went in a semicircle around them and started attacking the Muslims. To an extent that he approached Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his soldiers. Now, also, in the Battle of Al-Khandaq, he came with this 10,000 soldiers against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you know, in the Battle of Khandaq, which is in the 5th year of Hijrah, Uhud was in the 4th, Khandaq was in the 5th. When the Muslims fortified, they stayed in Medina and built a Khandaq, which is a ditch or a trench. It's just like a very almost 4 or 5 kilometers long and almost 6 up to 6 meters wide. So no one could jump. And the depth of it is almost 3 meters. So no one actually would be able to come. Only a place where could they cross, which is near a place near the Jews. Anyway, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed and his army, with Abu Sufyan, who was the leader, could not do anything. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed was given the task of trying to find a gap to enter. He couldn't. Now, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defeated them, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the other side with 300 people. They are on the other side with 10,000. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it in the Quran, وَبَلَغَتِ الْقُلُوبُ الْحَنَاجِرُ وَتَظُنُّونَ بِاللَّهِ الظُّنُونَ هُنَالِكَ ابْتُلِيَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَزُلْزِلُوا زِلْزَالًا شَدِيدًا. Their hearts just to their jugular vein, the Muslims. And they think, what's happening to us? What will be happening to us? They thought they'll just be demolished. They were very scared, to an extent they're scared to even go to the call of nature, to go to the toilet. Very scared. The hypocrites left them. Only the true believers. And the historians, some of them say, they're not more than 300 inside Medina. Now, when they were defeated, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to them rain and winds, and they couldn't know each other even at that night. And they decided to go back. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed was given the task, remember this, of guarding their backs, not to be attacked by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, this is the 5th year of Hijrah. On the 6th year of Hijrah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam decided to go to take Umrah. He came sallallahu alaihi wasallam to have Umrah. Now, when Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed and his army knew, his people knew that Muhammad is coming to them, what did he do? He prepared himself. And then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prepared himself near a mountain. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this is from Revelation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed is behind this mountain. Let's take another route. So they couldn't do anything. What happened? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam almost arrived in Mecca. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed knew that he missed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he came back running to Mecca. And when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam arrived just very near to Mecca, his camel stopped, couldn't go to Mecca. And then the Sahaba said, "Khalat al-Qaswa." Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's camel is called al-Qaswa. It means it became sick, can't move. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no. What has stopped it is the same thing that stopped the elephant from conquering the Kaaba. That was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they have the treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah. Now, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed also is a very tactic person in fighting Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, he wanted also to take from them on the same trip whether when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going or coming back. So he had his army ready for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not a very big army, but people who are desperate to take from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to take revenge. So he had Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his army. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stopped to pray dhuhr, and they said there will be another prayer. Let's wait for it. But what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to use another type of prayer, which is known as the prayer of khawf, the prayer of fear. This prayer of fear you could pray while even fighting. There are different ways of praying it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it in the Quran. This is to show the importance of prayer. That even at the critical moments of life, you have to pray. Some people would just leave prayer for a friend coming to them to visit them. Wallah, I got shy to get up. He's not a Muslim. I got shy to get up and pray. No. Respect your religion and they will respect you. If you fear people and you leave Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people won't fear you. But if you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't fear people, Allah will make people fear you. The same thing when you respect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than anything else, Allah will make people respect you. That's what people think. Respect. We want them to respect us. We want to do this and we want to do that. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the battlefield was ordered to pray. My brothers, it is very important to keep your prayers on time. Very important. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it very clear. لا حظ في الإسلام لمن ترك الصلاة. You may not have a share in Islam if you don't constantly keep your prayers on. Before all, this is the only pillar of Islam. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was raised to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and specifically for this task, not through Jibreel alayhi salam, but straight away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah spoke with him and He ordered him to pray these 5 prayers in a very well-known hadith. Do you think it's not important? It is really great and important. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the salat. إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. That prayer prevents you from doing evil acts. If you see yourself, if we see ourselves doing any evil acts, look just to your prayer. Are you doing it right or not? Don't look at any other things. Are you doing sunnah and reading the Quran, which is good, but look at the prayer. When the prayer comes, do you do it the right way or not? And if you see also success in your life, see what do you do in your prayers. Are you doing it right or not? After all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger said, when we are calling salat, what do we say? Come to success, hayya ala al-falah. Come to success. What is the success? It's in this life and the hereafter. Now, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed knew by his instinct that they will have another prayer, and he knew that, so we'll attack them, he said, when they will be preparing for the other prayer. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam this type of prayer. And then Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed, from that time, he said, I knew that this man is protected. He's protected, we cannot get to him. Now, he started to think of Islam from that moment. He said, as Al-Waqidi mentioned in a very long hadith about Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed, he said, he's talking now about himself. He said, now, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed said, when I've heard about Islam and Muslims and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam becoming victorious, he said the first seed of Islam coming to my heart when I saw that every place that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would go to will be welcomed. Even if they resist at first, he will be welcomed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said, I couldn't see anything, even at the place of Hudaybiyah. He said, when I went there to fight Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to get anything from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I could see that Muhammad is protected. He said that, alayhi salatu wassalam. He said, alayhi salatu wassalam, he said, when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is protected, I thought of just leaving Mecca. To the hate of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came the next year to do the Umrah, and he had the agreement in Sulh al-Hudaybiyah to come back to Mecca and do the Umrah, Khalid said, I couldn't be looking at Muhammad and his troops coming and doing salat in Mecca. I cannot see that. He hates Muhammad ﷺ to the most. He said, I just went outside Mecca. I didn't want to see him. You see how did he hate Muhammad ﷺ? Now he said, and then I thought of going anywhere. To go to the Persians or to go to the Romans and to convert to either Christianity or Judaism, and to stay away from my own home and family. That would be better for me not to stay with Muhammad. And then he thought, but I'll be away from my own home and people and staying with those who cannot even understand what I'm talking about. He said, radiyallahu anhu arda, he said, during when Muhammad ﷺ came to do the Umrah in the next year, he came, his own brother, Al-Waleed, tried to find Khalid and couldn't. So he sent him a letter. He said, this letter, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما بعد فإني لم أرى أعجب من ذهاب رأيك عن الإسلام وعقل عقلك ومثل الإسلام وجهلك في مثل الإسلام وقد سألني رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عنك وقال أين خالد فقلت يأتي الله به فقال مثله جهل الإسلام ولو كان جعل نكايته وجده مع الإسلام كان خيرا له ولقد قدمناه على غيره فاستدرك يا أخي ما قد فاتك من مواطن صالحة قال فلما جاءني كتابه نشطت للخروج وزادني رغبة في الإسلام وسرني سؤال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عني ورأيت, and this is another dream that he saw after this. He said his brother sent him a letter because he wasn't in Mecca when Muhammad ﷺ came. He hated Muhammad ﷺ. He said he sent him a letter and saying to him, it's amazing that such a person like you with a brain who could think would not even think of entering Islam. And he said to him, Muhammad ﷺ asked me about you. And he said, that Muhammad ﷺ said, I thought that Khalid's thinking and Khalid's way of thinking would be very, very close to Islam. But he was ignorant of or not informed about Islam. If he would be informed about Islam and had joined Islam long time, he will be very close to us and it will put him in a position. That's what Muhammad ﷺ said. He said, when I've heard that, now I wanted to go and be a Muslim. Look at, just by hearing that Muhammad ﷺ praised him and praised his way of thinking. It doesn't really take us that much, by the way, when you praise someone, even if he's an idiot. Just praise you are an intelligent person. How come you don't think of, and then you mention logical things about your religion, about the religion of Islam. This is what Muhammad ﷺ used with Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed. And he was saying it sallallahu alayhi wasallam because he knew that his brother will tell him. So, and then his brother said, this is an instinct. His brother, when Muhammad ﷺ said to him, where's Khalid? Then his brother said, Allah will bring him. He was confident that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring him. Now, Khalid had a dream, radiallahu anhu. He said, I had a dream after hearing this and reading this. He said, I had a dream that I was in an area which is very narrow, and I felt very, very squashed in that area. And he said also, I went to another area, green, spacious, and pleasant. Later when he told Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, he said that was the kufr, that was the Islam that you went to. Radiallahu anhu arda. Now, then he said, I decided to go to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to tell him about my Islam. Now, imagine this person is against Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam all the way. But he's a very decisive person, just like Umar radiallahu anhu. Whenever he decides something, he would just do it. So he went to Safwan ibn Umayyah, one of the leaders of Quraysh. And he said to him, you know what happened to us? He's a very close friend of his. He said, well, you know what happened to us? And know what Muhammad now and his position amongst the Arabs. Why don't we go and join him? And then he said, no, I won't join him. And I will not even do that. Thinking of those who are lost in the Battle of Badr and the Battle of Uhud. He said, I won't even join him. And then Khaalid radiallahu anhu arda was disappointed that his close friend actually wasn't supportive of his idea of going to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He went to another close friend. This close friend is Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. His father is Abu Jahl, the well-known pharaoh of the Ummah, as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He went to him and he said to him the same thing. Muhammad has now reached a status that no one could deny. He's now leading everything. If we join him, it's good for us. He said, no, I won't. And then he remembered the same, what happened to them during the days of Badr and Uhud. And he said, well, I couldn't do anything. But then, as a decisive person, these two people had a position in Mecca. Ikrimah radiallahu anhu later embraced Islam. And we'll talk about him. Now, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, he said, I decided to just go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After talking to two of his friends, and they disappointed him, they did not want him to go. He said, I decided to go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, I left. And on the way, subhanallah al-azim, when you have that good intention, Allah gives you the good company. Have the true good intention, Allah will give you the good company. And that happened to all of us, I think. When you have the true good intention, Allah will put on the way to you some good company. He said, I met Uthman ibn Talha. And he said, I was afraid to talk to him because of the two people. And I said, I won't. And then he said, oh, anyway, I'll talk to him because I'm now going. I don't care. And then he talked to him. Uthman ibn Talha said, you are right. And I'm also going to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, we had set a place and a time to meet and then to move. And they set a place and a time to meet and then to move. And he gave an example to Uthman ibn Talha when he was talking to him. He said, our example with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is just like a fox inside his hole. We just need a pocket of water to come to it and he will be dealing with us. He said, we're just like that. We're now from everywhere surrounded. Now Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not conquer Mecca, by the way. But as a man of military, he knows that Muhammad is coming to them. He's controlling everything. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, this is now the time where Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not have any victory against even the Jews in Khaybar. Okay? Now, when Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu had this meeting with Uthman ibn Talha, and they set a time to meet with each other, and they said, let's go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They went to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and on the way they met a very intelligent person who's also, he was doubtful of what they are also coming for. And then he asked him. That was Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu arda. Amr ibn al-As is very intelligent. His intelligence guided him to go to Abyssinia. He said, I'm very intelligent. I just left Mecca. I know that we will not be able to stop Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so I left. And then later I thought about it, because his family asked him, what should we do? He said, don't do anything. Let's go back. Let's leave. And we'll talk about this great man, the most intelligent, or one of the most intelligent persons of the Arabs. Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu arda, who conquered Egypt and also was able to make the people of Oman embrace Islam without anything. Now, Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu arda greeted them, and he said to them, where are you going? They said, they are two and he's one. They said, we're going to Muhammad to declare our Islam. He said, me too. I'm going the same there. Now, when they arrived in Mecca, in Medina, he said, we arrived in Al-Harra. When we arrived there, we stayed there. We changed our clothes. When Muhammad ﷺ heard about us, he was so happy to hear these three great people, especially Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed and Amr ibn Al-As. And when he heard that, he said, the leaders of Quraysh are coming to you, indicating Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed and Amr ibn Al-As radiyallahu anhu. He said, when we met Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he started to smile. He smiled at us. We were just sitting and he's smiling at us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you could just imagine that, coming to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who's the leader of now almost many parts of Arabia, especially the strongest parts of Arabia except Mecca, and he's smiling at them, welcoming them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said to him, to Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed, he said to him, Alhamdulillah, alladhi hadak. I thank Allah that He guided you. And he said to him, I know that you have a brain to think, and will not let you down. You'll be thinking about Islam, in other words. Now, and then he said to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, after we said, Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah, they said to him, to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he said, we said, Ashhadu an, he said, I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu annaka Rasulullah. Then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very happy, of course. But Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed was against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam many years, almost 6-7 years against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said to him also, I wanted you to do something for me. You know what happened between us? We were against you all the way, in many, many places. And we did, you know what we did to you. And he said, you should do something, in other words. Then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, all of these things will be wiped. Islam is actually wiped every sin before it. And then he said, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allahumma fir li Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed. He said, oh Allah, give forgiveness to Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed. And if the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking that, it's given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiyallahu anhu wa arda. And he said, I also had another thing. He said, I asked Allah to wipe everything from the past. So I don't have anything. He said, that's it. You will not have anything. And then Amr ibn Al-As radiallahu anhu and Uthman ibn Talha came and did the same thing. That was on the 2nd month of the Hijrah, on the 8th year of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's Hijrah into Mecca. Now, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and this man, this new Muslim, which by the way corresponds to June 629, June 629, almost 6 months before the conquer of Mecca. 6 months before the conquer of Mecca. And look at Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed will have a role. He would have a role in conquering Mecca radiyallahu anhu wa arda. Now Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is accepting this man radiyallahu anhu wa arda, and Amr ibn Al-As radiyallahu anhu wa arda, they are now changing into Islam. Now, one of the first things that happened when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is there is to teach them some Islam. Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed is a man of war. After quite a few days or quite a few weeks, what did Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed do? Radiallahu anhu arda. He contributed in an expedition. Where was this expedition? It should be going against the Romans. This expedition is one of the greatest ones in Islam. As Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had sent many of his companions in about 3,000 to 4,000 people against the Romans in a battle known as the Battle of Mu'tah. Now, Khalid is only a new Muslim, so he can't really do that much. And he wasn't selected as a leader. He was just a soldier. Although in the tactics of war, he was superior, radiallahu anhu warḍah. Now, this man, who was a soldier, radiallahu anhu warḍah, in this battle of Islam, he went with the leaders of the battle, appointed by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These leaders, when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam named them, he named them one by one. And he told the Sahaba, if this man died or killed, the other one should follow. And if this man died, the other one should follow. Now, the first one was what? Was whom? Zayd radiallahu anhu. And then he said, if Zayd died or killed, the second one would be Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's cousin. And if Ja'far is killed, Abdullah ibn Rawaha should be the third. And the army left. When the army left, the Jews told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they told him that all of them will be killed. He said, why? He said, if you name the whole army, they will be killed. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned for all the prophets. Then he said, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destined them. One day Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam called all the Sahaba. When he called all of them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said to them, come to us. Now Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in Medina, and the Sahaba in the battlefield away from Medina. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him see the battlefield, and he's now reporting to the Sahaba what's happening there. Then he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Zayd is fighting and then got killed. Sahaba are waiting for what happens next. And then he's saying Ja'far took the leadership, and he's fighting, and then he got killed, radiallahu anhu warḍah. And then he said also about Abdullah ibn Rawaha. He said Abdullah is fighting, and he waited, and everyone is just waiting for what happens. And then he said he got killed. And then he said, now the flag is given to a sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From that time on, he was known as Sayfullah, the sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said about himself, I had 9 swords in that battle broken. The only thing that could stand was a piece of metal, not a sword, made in Yemen, which could stand fighting others. And he would chop anyone with just a piece of metal, of iron. It was so hard for the sword to stop even. This man radiallahu anhu warḍah was so great in his battles. And then when one of the Sahaba took the flag with the leadership, and then he said to Khalid, come, I'm taking it for you. He said, no, you take it. You're older than me, and your Islam is more than me. I'm just a new Muslim. He said, no, I've taken it for you. That's now in the battlefield. And then he said, radiallahu anhu warḍah, he's just stopped. He couldn't do anything. And then he said to the Sahabi who gathered all the Sahaba, do you agree on Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed? They said, of course we agree. Now Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed is now in the position of the leadership of this battle, great battle of Islam, which is known as Ma'rakat Mu'tah, the Battle of Mu'tah. Now, almost 3,000 or 4,000 men of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's companions against many. They say 200,000 against the Muslims. Now, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed fought, and at night, after taking the leadership, he changed everything. And he said, we're going to change the tactics. We can't fight these 200,000. We should change it. What did he do, radiallahu anhu arda? At those days, they will have the two, or they call them wings, on both sides, and then one in the middle, which is called the heart. So he changed both. So there will be two, one in the right, one in the left, one in the front and one in behind. So he changed the one in behind to be to the front. And one of the wing sides from the left to the right. He shifted them. And then he said, we'll save almost 100 or so horsemen, knights. And he said to them, your task is to be away from us, and you come, you sneak back, and then you come again, and you sneak back, and you come again. So when you come, they know about your coming, but when you leave, they don't know that you're leaving. Now, and he said to the Muslims, at first, you have to fight very tough and push them to the limits. And when you come to very near to their own tents and places, don't push that hard. Okay? Now, what did they think? The enemy thought that they are now having a support from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the different sides are now changed. So those who used to fight the same people, they changed. And the same thing about the middle. And when they saw the dust coming up, and he said, make dust. He said, just make it just like a wind. When they saw it, they said, this is the support for them. And when he was about to defeat some parts of it, he stopped the army and retreated. They said, this is a new tactic. We should not be withdrawn to him. Stop. So they stopped. That was almost at the dusk time. Now, they left their places, and by the morning they already left. And they came back to Medina. When they came back to Medina, with no loss whatsoever, and this is the first event to happen in the history of mankind, that an army retreats without any loss. This is radiallahu anhu arda of his tactics of war. Now, he was creative in that sense. Now he came back to Medina. Now he coming back to Medina, people started to throw them with stones. Why did you retreat? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, do not retreat unless you are going to another group to support you. So they started to stone them. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, stop them. I am the group for every Muslim who is retreating. And he thanked Khaalid for saving the Muslims in that great battle of Islam. Now Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed is now known for his toughness, radiallahu anhu arda, and he's only few months in Islam. Just few months, by the way. And he was also given the leadership of some other small battles that we are going to mention inshallah next week. Jazakumullah khair. Sallallahu sallam ala nabina Muhammad. Next Thursday we'll have inshallah more about this man, radiallahu anhu. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. After the battle of Mu'tah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's soldiers came back not victorious, but they came safe. The army is almost safe, although 3 of their leaders got killed. After that, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a treaty with Quraysh, as we said. In this treaty, Muhammad was aligned with another Arabs from another tribe, non-Muslims. Quraysh also aligned with other non-Muslims, although they are non-Muslims. What happened? The Qurayshi people broke the treaty. When they broke the treaty, they killed the allies of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam decided to go and invade Mecca, which is known as the conquer of Mecca. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the 8th year of Hijrah, decided to go and conquer Mecca. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda is one of the soldiers. It's only 6 months after his own Islam radiallahu anhu arda. So he came and became one of the 4 leaders of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be guiding the mission to Mecca. Khaalid radiallahu anhu arda also was ordered by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to get into Mecca, the first one. The first to enter Mecca is Khaalid radiallahu anhu. And Khaalid is very tough. And when he entered radiallahu anhu arda, the Qurashi people thinking of fighting Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when they thought of fighting Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khaalid is in front of them. Fighting erupted between Khaalid radiallahu anhu arda and the disbelievers. 3 of the Muslims got killed, and also 13 of the disbelievers got killed. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Khaalid to stop fighting. So Khaalid stopped fighting after that. That was on the 10th of Ramadan, the 8th year of the Hijrah, which corresponds to the 3rd of January 630. Now, of course, Khaalid ibn Walid did not initiate it. They did initiate it, because Muhammad gave specific orders not to initiate that war, that fighting. After that, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Khaalid ibn Walid only at the end of Ramadan. This happened at the beginning of Ramadan. At the end of Ramadan, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Khaalid ibn Walid with about 30 men, soldiers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to demolish a great idol, very huge idol, known for the Arabs to be worshipped. This idol is known as Al-Uzza. It's mentioned in the Quran. وَاللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى, etc. It's mentioned in the Quran. This great idol, it's between Mecca and Al-Taif. So the people of Mecca used to glorify it, and the people of Al-Taif used to glorify it. Many people from different tribes used to glorify this idol. And the ones who are actually looking after it and the custodians of this idol are the allies of Banu Hashim, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's family. They are their allies. They are called Bani Shayban. They're from Bani Salim. Now, when they heard that Khaalid ibn Walid is coming, the custodian of this huge idol came to the idol, gave it a sword, and said, "Defend yourself, we can't." And they went up to the mountains, and they started to sing for Al-Uzza, to encourage her to defend herself against whom? Against Khaalid ibn Walid. They started to sing for it. But it's an idol, it can't defend anything, can't do anything. Now what happened? Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda, with these 30 great men of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam soldiers, demolished the Uzza. And then what did they find? What did they find? They found an old lady, black, very, very unorganized hair, with almost semi-naked. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them, "You'll find that lady there. That is Al-Uzza." Khaalid ibn Walid killed the lady, and then they came back and told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time said, "Al-Uzza will never come back again." Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu wa arda said, when they were singing that, they said, "ذهبت العزة فلا عزة بعد اليوم." Uzza is left. There's no Uzza after this time. Now, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also sent Khaalid ibn Walid after that to another expedition. And Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda did a fatal incident. He did a very fatal accident. What happened? He sent him sallallahu alaihi wasallam to people from Judaym. These people when Khalid Walid approached them, they started saying, Saba'na, Saba'na. Saba'na in Arabic, used by the kuffar of Quraysh, leaving their religion. So Khalid understood it, and his people understood it as they just left their Islam. And Khalid thought also that they said something bad about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now he started fighting them and killed many of them. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he heard of that, he said, Allahumma inni abra'u ilayka mimma amila Khalid. Oh Allah, I have nothing to do with this, with what Khalid did. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu instead to pay them the blood money for what did Khalid radiallahu anhu arda did. Now, after also that, Muhammad did not stop Khalid from leading the army, because that was an accident. It wasn't an intentional accident by Khalid radiallahu anhu arda. Now, after that, it's in the same year, in Shawwal, which is the 10th month, just immediately after Ramadan, after the conquer of Mecca, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam decided to go and fight Hawazin and Thaqif, people in At-Taif. They were preparing for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with more than 20,000 to come to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and fight Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he decided to go and fight them instead of coming to him. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda was amongst the army. When many people left Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was looking after, where is Khaalid ibn Walid? And he found him sallallahu alaihi wasallam with many wounds in his body. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam praised Khaalid radiallahu anhu arda. And when he saw him, he looked at him and started to wipe the wounds and blow in the wounds of Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda. Now, at the beginning of the next year, which is the 9th year, Khaalid ibn Walid was also the leader of an expedition. He's only almost a year of his Islam. And he contributed in many of these battles, not as a soldier, but as a leader. Radiallahu anhu arda. This man, radiallahu anhu arda, was sent to Bani al-Mustaliq. Bani al-Mustaliq, the news came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that those people left religion and are making a counterattack against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he sent Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu to see what's happening there. Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda, as a man of war, he used to sleep during the day, walk during the night. When he arrived there, he started to see what's happening there. And he knew that they're still in their Islam, they're not preparing any mischievous against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came back to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was afraid that those people will make Arabs rise against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why he wanted to make sure that everything is all right. Now, at the same year, in Rajab, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent to him Khaalid ibn Walid as a leader in an expedition to Dawmat al-Jandal. Very interesting. This incident happened, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them, Khaalid ibn Walid and the army, how would their leader come to them? He said, the leader of Dawmat al-Jandal, Uqaydir ibn Abdul Malik, will come to you chasing a group of wild cows. And subhanallah, Khaalid ibn Walid and 420 men were around the castle, the fortified one. They're just outside it, waiting. Muhammad told him that this man will come to you. Don't go there. So while they were waiting, radiallahu anhu, the man was watching and he saw a group of cows, wild cows. And his wife said to him, do you see what I see? He said, yes. She said to him, do you think any brave man will leave this? He said, no. So he prepared himself, left the castle to where? To follow these cows. But what happened? He was captured by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's army, by Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda. And he came, and Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda took him and took of course, he prepared himself, and those kings, they put everything luxurious. He took his helmet, feathers and everything, and he sent it to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Arabs at that time and Muslims at that time are not used to this. When they started touching it, they were amazed to see a very smooth piece of clothes. They said, how smooth is this? And then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, by Allah, the handkerchiefs, the tissues of Mu'adh, Sa'd bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu arda, in paradise is softer than these ones. So Muhammad is joining them between this dunya and the akhirah. So when you think of anything, Muhammad will remind them of what happens in the hereafter. Now, Muhammad, of course, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed brought this person back to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they had an agreement to pay the head tax, that Muhammad will be protecting them, but they pay taxes. Also, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed as a leader in the following year, in Jamad, which was August 631. Where? To Najran, to the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula. He sent them there sallallahu alaihi wasallam because now Muhammad wanted to make sure that all the Arabs around him are not preparing to attack him. He sent them, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, there, and he told him, go there and offer Islam to them. Just tell them about Islam. And subhanAllah, they embraced Islam. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, when they embraced Islam, was very happy. Then he wrote to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, li Muhammad Rasulillah min Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed. He puts the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam before his name. Usually in Arabic, he say, from me to you. He puts the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam before his name. And then he said, the people embraced Islam, and alhamdulillah, we're teaching them Islam. And we're waiting here your orders. What do you want us to do? Then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent another message to Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda. He said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, min Muhammad النبي رسول الله إلى خالد بن الوليد سلام عليك فإني. And then he said, from Muhammad, the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Khalid radiallahu anhu. He said, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, when my message comes to you, when my letter come to you, come with their leaders so we can talk to them. So Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu came with their leaders. They were well treated by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and welcomed by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they left back, of course, to their own places. After that, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is now preparing to go to Hajj. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda. Now Mecca is secured. It's under Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's rule. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the 10th year, went to Hajj. When he went to Hajj, something happened. After doing his Hajj, Muhammad shaved his head, as the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he shaved his head, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda grabbed the hair shaved from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's forehead, front of his head, and then kept it radiallahu anhu arda and put it in his turban. He said, and it was said that whenever I meet any army, subhanAllah, I become victorious. During the battle of Tabuk, he lost it. And he asked everyone to look after it, as mentioned by Ibn Kathir and others. And when they found it, they found a very old, rough turban. And then he said, and then he told them the story. That he said, when during the farewell pilgrimage, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was there. When he shaved his head, I took the hair from the front of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, Subhanallah, فَلَمْ أَشْهَدُ قِتَالًا وَهِيَ مَعِي إِلَّا رُزِقْتُ النَّصْرِ. He said, when I fight and it's with me, Allah will give me victory. And of course, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah's way of belief is to seek the blessings of anything of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if it's something that we don't know its origins, as some people might claim, this is the hair of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, You don't know. It could be and it may not be. Allah knows. But if it's something that we know for sure that this is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's, for example, shoes or anything, yes. That is why Islam is very, very critical of some of those who would say, this is sacred, till everything becomes sacred. And anyone could claim this is sacred. Now, after the death of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu became the Khalifa. And of course, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda gave allegiance to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda. You still remember that Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda is called by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sayfullah. Now Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda still remember that. So whenever he wants to send an army, he would be thinking of Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda. Now, after the death of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, something happened. Some of the Arabs left Islam. As a matter of fact, some of the historians mention that almost all the Arabs either left Islam except Mecca and Medina or Taif, left Islam or did not pay zakat except Mecca and Medina. Now, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, Abu Bakr was decisive. Even those who did not pay zakat, he wants them to pay zakat or fight them. So Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda was sent by Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda to someone who claimed to be a prophet. There's someone called Tulayha bin Khuwaylid al-Asdi. He claimed to be a prophet during the days of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Muhammad was sick, he claimed to be a prophet, so he could take the prophethood from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what happened when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam died? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu sent Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda. When he sent Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, when the people heard that Khalid is coming, they just left, they scattered. Khalid's name really had a very great effect on the soldiers against him radiallahu anhu arda. They left, and it was said that they chased all the followers, and Talha returned back to Islam, the one who claimed to be a prophet. And it was said that he was actually became martyr in one of the battles against the Persians during the days of Umar radiallahu anhu arda. Also, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda sent Khalid radiallahu anhu arda to another tribe. They refused to pay zakat. When they refused to pay zakat, a man called Malik ibn Nuwayra refused to pay it. So what happened? Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda went there to fight them. Because Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's idea, he said, if they refuse to pay this, they could refuse to do anything else. We will be very decisive. So he was decisive radiallahu anhu arda. Now, when they captured them, Khalid radiallahu anhu arda, he had the soldiers with him. They speak the same language, Arabic, but their dialect is different. So some of the words would mean something else to them. So in Arabic, adfi means war, but in their dialect means kill. It means kill, just like in saba'na in the Meccan dialect would mean leave the religion. Now Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, when they captured them, so it was very cold, and he said to them, try to make adfi'u asrakum, make your own prisoners cold, war. What did they understand? Kill them. And they killed Malik ibn Nuwayra. This man, who was a leader, he had also a wife. So as a way of comforting her, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, after spending the iddah, married the lady. Now the news came that Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda killed the husband to marry the wife. Umar radiallahu anhu heard about the news. He said, Khalid must come now. We must deal with him. And he told Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Khalid should come now. Now Khalid radiallahu anhu came with the prisoners of war from Bani Hanifa. After he dealt with Musaylama, the liar. Because Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu sent Khaalid ibn Walid as well to Musaylama, the liar, who claimed also to be a prophet. And was killed by whom? By Wahshi. Wahshi radiallahu anhu was the one who killed Hamza. And he said, I want to kill the man because I killed the uncle of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he killed him. That battle, which is the Battle of Al-Yamamah, was a very, very great battle. It's a very long standing battle between the Muslims and Banu Hanifa. Banu Hanifa very tough, and the Muslims were about to be defeated. Then when Khalid came radiallahu anhu arda, he was able to defeat them. Now, after defeating them, and the incident came also, there is another lady whose name is Sajah. She also claimed to be a prophet. She married to this man whose name is Musaylama. And what was the dowry? The dowry is to make what? There's no payment. To make one of the prayers, don't pray it. So he gave them Fajr and Isha, don't pray. That's the dowry for Sajah. And they believed in that. Because after they stayed together and they had the marriage, because he's a prophet, he married her without any witnesses and anything. And then he said, they asked her after finishing that night with him, they said, what did you take as a dowry? She said, I didn't take anything. He said, ask him well. And then he sent them a message that the dowry of Sajah is to the two prayers. And they believed in him. Now, after that, when this got killed, it was narrated that this woman embraced Islam and continued to be a good lady. When he came to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, as you remember the news that coming now to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, that he killed Malik ibn Nuwayrah to marry his wife. So when they came, when Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu came, with his helmet and his turban and everything, the sword still blood in it, radiallahu anhu arda, and also he's tired of fighting. When Umar radiallahu anhu arda saw him, what did he do? He didn't say anything. He wasn't happy with him because of the news. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda welcomed him, and he heard from him and accepted what Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda said. Now, after that, some of the historians would say immediately after finishing with Musaylama, he left to Iraq. And that was at the beginning of the 12th year of the Hijrah. This man radiallahu anhu arda is almost contributing in every battle during his Islam. And not only contributing, he was the leader radiallahu anhu arda. That was 633. Now after finishing with those who left Islam, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda wanted also to make the borders of Muslims secured. So he sent Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda to the east of the Arabian Peninsula, near Al-Basra in Iraq. When they arrived in Al-Kadhimiyya, which is known now in Iraq, when they arrived there, they saw a very huge gathering of the Persians. They wanted to attack Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's army, Abu Bakr's army. Now, what did they find? They find also Al-Hurmuz. This man is one of the greatest of the Persians. So Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda said to them, why don't you fight a single combat, me and you? The Persians, by the way, are known for their bravery, and they are well-known fighters. Still the news about Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda is not spreading enough. That's why if they knew about Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda, they would have fled for his coming radiallahu anhu arda. So what happened? When Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu arda with Al-Hurmuz fought single combat, he was killed. Hurmuz was killed. When he was killed, what happened? The army is almost Khaalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu. and he took the helmet of this leader, and it was worth 100,000 dirham. And of course, Khalid Walid radiallahu anhu could not take it without the permission from Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Now, we're not talking about the conquer of Al-Madain and other places, because it's a very huge, especially during the days of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Umar radiallahu anhu, when they conquered the well-known palace which is known as the White House or the White Palace in Persia. Okay, very huge, and subhanallah, it was white. Anyway, now Khalid Walid radiallahu anhu arda started to go. This is what mentioned by Bidayah wa Nihaya. He started to go and conquer each place from the Persians. Went to Al-Hira, and also went to Al-Abala, Al-Madala, Al-Wajala, and many places. Now, on the way, he wanted also to conquer Al-Anbar, which is in Iraq, and it was very fortified. Now, what did they do also in Al-Anbar? They had a trench filled with water, so no one could actually cross it. Khalid Walid radiallahu anhu arda tried to find the narrowest place in that trench, and he said to the Muslims, when you aim with your arcs, aim to the eyes. So, and he had the army there, because in fighting it's tactics. So he had the whole army there with their arch in the head, in the eyes. And then Khalid radiallahu anhu ardah came to it. He wanted to make a bridge. What did he do with that? It's very difficult to do it. He said, give us the weak camels, the very weak ones. And he started to slaughter them and put them in the trench. Slaughter and put them till it's almost full, so they could actually walk into it. And when they did that, they started to approach the castle. So when they approach it, it's very difficult for the soldiers to actually hit them. They conquered it, radiallahu anhu. Now, after that, and conquering many places in Iraq, now another army of the Muslims in Sham, led by Abu Ubaidah Amir ibn Jarrah radiallahu anhu arda, Amr ibn Al-As radiallahu anhu arda, Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl radiallahu anhu arda, and many other Sahaba. They were in Sham. Now, Khalid Walid radiallahu anhu arda was able to secure the area. So the Euphrates River, the two rivers, were almost the Muslims' rivers. And now he was given order from Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to go to Sham. And Sham is Syria, the whole area that way, as well as Lebanon. Now what happened? Umar radiallahu anhu arda had a discussion with Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda. He said to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda, that was during the battles in Persia. He said to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda, as narrated by Malik ibn Anas, he said, send to Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu and tell Khalid ibn Walid to not spend anything without your orders. As a leader of the army, he would spend without asking Khalid Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda. But he said to him, no, you want him to spend every penny under your orders. So he wrote radiallahu anhu arda. Khalid Walid radiallahu anhu arda said, either you let me do what I want to do, or come and take it. Because he's far away from the Khilafah. It's in Medina, and he is in Iraq radiallahu anhu arda. So he said, either you let me do what I do, or you come and deal with it. When the message came back to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda, Umar read it also. And Umar radiallahu anhu arda said, just let him step down. Give him the sack. And he said, who will be taking his place? Umar said, I'll do that. I'll take his place. We mentioned long time ago that Umar looks like Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu. Not only in the ways of thinking, but also in the shape. He looks like him. We'll mention a story now. Now, so Umar radiallahu anhu ardah prepared himself to go and take the position of Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu ardah. While he was preparing himself, the Sahaba came to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu ardah. And they said, why would you let Umar go? He's your advisor. He said, well, we want him to take place of Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed. To take the place of Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed. He said, just let Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed let Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed does what he does, and let Umar stay. And then he said, okay, we'll ask Umar to stay. Then Umar stayed radiallahu anhu. Now, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu ardah then gave the orders to Khaalid radiallahu anhu ardah to move from Iraq to Sham. And he said something because he knew that the Romans are preparing to slaughter the Muslims. The Muslims at that point of time were only 24,000. And the Romans are divided into many ways. 240,000 soldiers. 80,000 soldiers chained, so no one could leave the battlefield. 10,000 or 12,000 of the Arabs. It was almost more than 300,000 soldiers, well equipped. Plus the priests with them, their leaders and everything. Now the Muslims are only 24. Ubaidah radiallahu anhu arda, Amr ibn al-As, as well as Ikrimah radiallahu anhu arda, Abu Sufyan, Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan, they were there radiallahu anhu. But it's just massive. So he sent to Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda. Now Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, when he was sent there, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda said, Wallahi la unsiyanna ar-Rum wa sawis al-shaytan bi Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed. They'll make the Romans forget the whispers of shaitan by sending Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed. Because he knew if they know that Khalid is coming, they will be shaken. Now the news about Khalid radiallahu anhu started to come, that he's the sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Khalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu ardah, between Iraq and Sham there is a desert. This desert, no one could actually cross it. Now there was someone called Rafi' ibn Umayr al-Ta'i. He knows the way. Khalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda said, we want to cross it. The Arabs around the area said to them, you can't. Khalid had almost 9,500, almost 10,000 soldiers. And he said, we want to cross it. They said it's impossible to do that. They said, we want to do it. They said, okay, then we need to do tactics. So he had the camels to eat first salt and then to drink. So when you eat salt, how many do you drink? How much do you drink? You drink a lot. So they drank and drank and drank and drank. And he also put on top of them water. And on the way there's no place of water. So on the way, 5 days, they were up the hills, the mountains, till they came. On the ways, how did they survive? They ate the meat of the camels, and the water inside the camels would be drank by the horses. And some say would be drunk by the people themselves. But they said the water on the camels are actually the ones that will be drunk by the people. And they eat, of course, the food from the camels. Now, when they arrived, it was a very startling for them. It will take at least a month from Iraq to Sham. But with Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed it took only 5 days. 5 days and he's there. When the Romans knew about that, they were shaken that Khalid is coming. Now Khalid radiallahu anhu ardah in Yarmouk with Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu ardah, Amr ibn al-As, Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan, Shurahabil ibn Hasana, Aqqa ibn Amr, Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl, and many of the Sahaba, Zubair ibn al-Awwam, many of the well-known Sahaba, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, many of them. Now I forgot to mention something to you. During the battle with Musaylama, about 300 or 1,000, of the Sahaba killed when he was fighting Musaylama the liar. Most of those who are killed are the memorizers of the Quran, those who memorize the Quran. That was the idea of compiling the Quran, because they said we lost many of the memorizers. What do we do? He said we compile the Quran. That was after the battle of Al-Yamama with Musaylama. Now Khaalid Walid radiallahu anhu ardah was sent there with a message that she become the leader. When he came, he saw that each one is leading their own army. So Abu Ubaidah is leading the army, his army. Ikrimah is leading his army. Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan is leading his army. And Shurahabil ibn Hasan as well, of the Sahaba, everyone is leading their army. He said, no, we can't win this way. We had to be in one, there should be one only leader, so we can win. And he said, this day, after it, we either be making Islam spread, or we will be the cause of its beginning of destruction. He said, that's why it's an honor. Let's make each day one of us a leader. And he said, I'll start by myself as a leader for the first day. And then Abu Ubaidah would be the second day, etc., etc. Now, that battle, it's a very great battle. I'm not going to the details of it. It's a very huge and great battle. Ibn Kathir, when he was mentioning it in about 50 or so pages, he mentions the speeches of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Abu Hurairah, Abu Sufyan, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed, Amr ibn al-As. How did they encourage people? Because everyone needs to tell them to stop the coming army. Now, at this point of time, Hims is the place where the Romans are actually governing their empire from. Their Middle Eastern empire, let's say. The leader went to Jerusalem to pray, to do Hajj. When he went there, and then he returned back to Hims. When he went back to Hims, he didn't want to go against Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed. He did not want to go against the Muslim soldiers. Now, to make it very brief, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed prepared the army, and he said to them, we want to do a tactic in that. There were ladies with them, with the Muslim army. He said, be in the back. Anyone who retreats, kill them. Or stone them. Or hit them with anything. Now, 200,000 or 300,000 plus against 36,000. That's the maximum number of the Muslims. Khaalid Walid started to tell them that now we will know if you want to fight. And he divided them into each wing or place of battle with two supporting each other. So if anyone would be defeated, the other ones will take over. And he said to them, don't fight and don't initiate it till I tell you. Let them come to you. And he chose a place where it would be very easy to attack and very easy to go back a little bit. Anyway, the battle started. The whole day, night, day, night, day, night, 3 days. It usually stopped at night. The Muslims in that battle, they prayed their prayers, imam, just like pointing. So they, with the sword, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Rahman Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin, praying. They couldn't. They did not have a chance to actually rest. Now, for 3 days, consecutive 3 days, and the leader radiallahu anhu arda Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed, wherever he would see any point of the army weak, he will go and reinforce it with 100. First he started with 1,000 to reinforce any place where they are becoming weak, till with only 100. And subhanAllah, during the battle, a man came to Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu and never ever also forgot to do his da'wah. Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu, he said to him, what is this religion that you want us to embrace? Are you coming just to kill us? He said, no. He said, if you accept it, you just become part of us. He said, but if I become part of you, you would have a chance, you will be better than me, because you embraced Islam long time ago and you saw the Prophet. He said, no, you'll be better than us, because we fought Muhammad and we did not embrace Islam until we actually became, we did not have anything but to choose to embrace Islam. And he said, okay, so if I embrace Islam, that was a soldier from the Romans. If I embrace Islam, what happens to me? He said, you become just like any one of us, and even more. And he said, so what if I embrace Islam and fight with you? He said, you just become just like me and anyone else. He said, what if I get killed? He said, you'll be in paradise with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said, how do I do that? He said, to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. The man said it. Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu took him to his tent, had a shower, prayed 2 rak'ah behind Khaalid. He doesn't know what to say. And then Khaalid said to him, come with me to the battlefield, and he got killed. Now another man came to Khaalid radiallahu anhu arda. He said, where's the sword that is coming from Allah? They know that Khaalid is the sword of Allah. He said, do you truly have a sword from Allah? He said, no. And then he told him the story. He said, that's why I'm called the Sayfullah. I don't have a sword from Allah. Now, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, during the battle, the news came to him. The message came that Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu is to step down, and the leader should be Abu Ubaidah. When the message came, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, the messenger came to Khaalid. Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda took it, read it, and he said, very good, that's good. So when people heard that, that's something good. As the middle of the battle, what could he say radiallahu anhu arda? And he said, it's very good, just be next to me, don't go away from me, you're very good. They fought. After the finish of the battle, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu called Abu Ubaidah, and he said to him, this is the message. Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu said, praised him for that. Because what would happen if he told him that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu died and Umar radiallahu anhu is now the Khalifa? Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu is not the leader anymore, it's me the leader now. What would happen to the army? In a great battle. Now thousands and thousands of the Roman army got killed. Remember the 80,000 chained? Killed. How did they die? They were on a cliff, very high mountain. So they want to flee. They want to leave the battle. So if anyone would fall, the rest will fall. And they were chained, I think, 50s or 10s together. Anyway, they were demolished. Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, with the Muslims, won the battle. 3,000 of the Muslims got killed. And many, many, many thousands of the Roman Empire got killed. Now, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, as we said, he looks like Umar radiallahu anhu wa arda. So the way he is tough, and Umar radiallahu anhu or ardah is tough. Even the way he looks like, the shape of Umar radiallahu anhu is the same as Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu ardah. Yet Umar radiallahu anhu ardah used to love Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu. At the same way Khalid used to love Umar radiallahu anhu ardah. So the differences between them did not make hatred between them. Now, Umar radiallahu anhu ardah, one day, he said, when he's the Amir, he said, Wallahi, I'd love that Abu Ubaidah is there after the death of Abu Ubaidah, to give him the leadership and just be away from it. Because I heard Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, the Amin of this ummah, the trustworthy of this ummah is Abu Ubaidah. And then he said, or Khalid, because I've heard Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying, Khalid sayfun min suyufillah. Khalid is a sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, why did Umar radiallahu anhu change Khalid? He sent to the Amirs, telling them, why did I change Khalid? He said, إني لم أعزل خالدا عن سخطة ولا خيانة. He said, I did not really sack Khalid or let him step down because he is a traitor or because I hate him. He did something wrong. No. Because I'm afraid that people will start to say that victory is coming from Khalid, not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, and then he said, let it be clear that when that happens, it will become a fitna. The trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be lost. That's why Umar radiallahu anhu was very strong in that. Now, Umar radiallahu anhu, one day, after of course Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu became the leader, he had Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed as the Amir of Sham. One day Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu gave Al-Ash'ath 10,000 dinars or dirham. When he gave him, Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu is very strict. Very strict. Because Allah will judge him. Will ask him about everything. He should ask then each one of his own amirs. So he asked Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu. He sent to Abu Ubaidah, he said, bring Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed and question him, why did he do this? Why did he give such and such 10,000? Why did he give Al-Ash'ath 10,000? If it's from the money of the Muslims, then this is a treason. And if it's from his own money, he's wasting his money. And then he said in both ways, you have to make him step down. You have to sack him. Giving such and such person or such 10,000 without any reason? No. A man came during the days of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and he wanted a land, big land. During the days of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad used to give them. But during the days of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr kept the seal with whom? With Umar. So if Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu would agree, then who would be sealing it? Umar radiallahu anhu. So because Abu Bakr trusted Umar radiallahu anhu. Now the man came and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said to him, okay, I agree, go to Umar and let him stamp it. When he came to Umar radiallahu anhu, Umar was taking care of his own house. He was cementing the mud of the house. It's a mud house. Now when he came, his hands mugged. He came and he said, come and stamp it. He said, what? He said, I wanted that such and such land, and I want the Khalifa said, okay. He said to him, bring it here. He brought it. He said, this is the stamp. He said, what? He said, this is the stamp. During the days of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we were in need of you. Now we're not in need of you. Do whatever you want to do. And then he came to Abu Bakr and he said, are you the Khalifa or Umar? He said, he's the Khalifa, it's not me. Umar is very, very tough, radiallahu anhu wa arda. So understanding the personality of Umar radiallahu anhu wa arda, and you could understand the balance between Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Umar radiallahu anhu. Both of them are balanced. Now, Umar radiallahu anhu wa arda, one day was walking. After the news came, or after he sacked Khalid from everything, a man by the name of Alqamah bin Ulatha came, and he thought it was dusk. He thought that this is Khalid. He talked to Umar radiallahu anhu thinking that this is whom? Khalid in Medina. And Khalid was in Medina. And he said to him, did Umar sack you? He's talking to whom? To Umar. Umar said yes. He said, oh, this man does not, he can't be full of anything. He cannot get full of anything. He cannot be satisfied with anything. He's talking about whom? About Umar radiallahu anhu. Now, and then Umar radiallahu anhu arda, he said to him, what do you have for Umar? Umar is asking this man who is thinking that this is Khalid, what do you have for Umar? He said, I have to listen and obey. I don't have anything else. He's our Amir. Now in the morning, Umar radiallahu anhu sent for Khalid. And he said to Khalid, come. Alqamah, come. What did Alqamah say to you, Khalid? Khalid said, he didn't say to me anything. And then he said, say the truth. What did he say to you? He said, he didn't say to me anything. He said, and then Alqamah said, he was startled to hear, this is between Alqamah and Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu. Now, then Alqamah radiallahu anhu looked at Khalid. Khalid did not mean, there's nothing. He did not tell Khalid. It was someone else. And Khalid radiallahu anhu knew that Alqamah has told Umar something, because they look like each other. Now what happened? Alqamah got very afraid of Umar radiallahu anhu, because Umar is very tough. But when Umar radiallahu anhu smiled, it's just like a relief. When he smiled, it was a relief. And then Umar radiallahu anhu forgave him and let him go. That was mentioned in Al-Wafi bil-Wafiyat. Now, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, a former commander, will be just like a normal soldier in the Muslim army. He used to be the leader, now he is just a normal commander. Who would be accepting that? Who would be accepting that? Nowadays, especially in the Muslim community, especially in Australia, you cannot accept, not you cannot, I mean those who are in the top, they cannot accept to be normal Muslims. They have to be. Even if it means they would have 2 committees, 3 committees, 4 committees. Competing, fighting, going to the court, they want to be the leaders. And subhanAllah, working for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't need to be a leader. If you work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't need to be a leader. You just work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the news came to Umar radiallahu anhu and they told him how many people killed, such and such killed and such killed, and then they said many people that Umar doesn't know. Then Umar relaxed and said, that will not harm them if Umar does not know them. But Allah knows them. Because no one could know everything. We cannot know the intention of the best leader. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the true test is to see whether this man will be like anyone else, or will say, no, if I'm not a leader, I won't be. He contribute with them, radiallahu anhu arda, in the conquer of all the battles, radiallahu anhu arda, in the conquer of Damascus, the conquer of Hims, Qinnisreen, and all the places. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda was there. Was a leader? No, he wasn't the leader of the army, but was a soldier, because he was fighting for whom? for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake. He wasn't fighting to be known as a leader. He deserves to be, but he wasn't fighting for that. Now Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, something amazing about this man. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda did not memorize a lot of the Quran. And he used to say, jihad made me busy, not to memorize a lot. Muslims, when you ask them, they may be memorizing 3, 4, 5, 10 chapters from the Quran. Not chapters, I mean surahs from the Quran. Why don't you memorize more? Well, I'm busy. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed was busy radiallahu anhu arda. But you're not Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed. You are not Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda spent all his life defending Islam, and he did more than anyone else of us could say he didn't do. Radiallahu anhu arda. Now, Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu arda, when he was in Persia, they told him, be very, very cautious, because they could put poison to you. And if they put poison to you, you could be killed when you go to Persia. So one day, he was very cautious, radiallahu anhu. One day, he thought that this is poison. He drank it after saying Bismillah, and did not harm him, radiallahu anhu. He drank it and did not harm him, as narrated by Ibn Jarir and Ibn Ishaq and many others. It did not harm him. The poison did not harm Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu. Also, one day, one was walking in the streets with a jar full of wine. And then he was embarrassed to see Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu said to him, what is this? He said, this is honey. Khaalid Ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu said, let it be inshaAllah honey. He opened it and it was honey. Now, this is mentioned by Bakr ibn Ayyash and many people about especially the story of honey. They mention sometimes it was khal, vinegar. And he said, when he said it's honey, it became honey. Anyway, this is about the karamat of awliya, which is known as the miracles of the awliya. Many people would just expand on them. In Tabaqat al-Shafi'iyya al-Kubra, the second volume, he was talking about this, the miracles of the awliya, of the saints. And he said, why would we have many miracles during our time, but it wasn't that much during the time of the Sahaba? And then they said, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, the same man said, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal was asked about this very, very question. And he said, their iman was very strong. They did not need anything to strengthen their iman. But the iman of those who come after, they need something of a miracle to make their iman stronger. Whenever you hear people talking about, for example, I don't know who was talking about this, that someone such and such, Ahmad such and such, was outside the mosque of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he did not want to enter. The hand of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was seen by thousands of people, and he shook hands with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's just like, this is, we're very, very logical. It can't be. He's not better than Abu Bakr, not Umar, not Abu Hanifa, not Imam Malik. Why would that happen to him? But sometimes they exaggerate in it to an extent that it becomes just like more than fairy tales. It becomes similar to science fiction. Our Islam is very moderate. If it is true, it's not good for us. It is good for whom? For the person. It's not good for us. The miracle happened, yes. And they do happen. But it's not good for us when we hear it. It's good for the one which happened to him. But people, subhanAllah, they instead of talking about the true things that happened to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they mention a lot of the things that happened to other people. The great scholars, sometimes you never heard of their names. such and such happened to them, such and such happened to them. Why did you substitute these things with what happened to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Read Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There are even a mention of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam bringing to life people, although it's weak. But there is a mention of it. A mention of many miracles of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, Khaalid Walid radiallahu anhu ardah, he had many virtues. One of the good virtues that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as mentioned in the book Fadail al-Sahaba, or the virtues of the Sahaba, that he was one day, Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu ardah came and he complained to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, Umar is treating me like this. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not do this to a man who witnessed Badr. Then Abu Bakr, then Khalid radiallahu anhu ardah, they talk about me, and then I respond. Then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not harm Khalid radiallahu anhu ardah, فإنه سيف من سيوف الله صبه الله على الكفار. He is a sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, directed against the disbelievers. And one day he was praised by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ni'ma akhul ashira, the best of the tribe. One day Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now we said the auntie of Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu ardah, Maymuna, she's Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife. One day Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given dhab. It's a type of lizard known in Arabian Peninsula, especially in the middle of the Arabian Peninsula, which could be eaten. For those who did not eat it, it's very tasty. It doesn't smell very nice when you cook it, but it's very tasty. And it's a type of animals that the muscles would be there even if you cut the head. You have to break the spinal cord. If you cut the head, it still walks. You have to cut to break the spinal cord. Anyway, I ate it. It's good. We used to eat it and also catch it. One day, it was given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a gift. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was about to eat from it, and he said, no, it's not in my area. I don't eat from it. Khaalid radiallahu anhu said, is it haram to eat from it? He said, no. And he started eating from it. Eating from it, really, if you look at it as a lizard, it's just like, it is tough to eat from it. Now, Khaalid radiallahu anhu came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day, and he said to him, O Prophet of Allah, there is a jinn who's actually troubling me, and can you teach me something to say in order to stop it? Then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, as narrated by Ibn Abi al-Aliya, he said to him, say, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات التي لا يجاوزهن بر ولا فاجر من شر ما ذرأ في الأرض وما يخرج منها ومن شر ما يعرج في السماء وما ينزل منها ومن شر كل طارق إلا طارق يطرق بخير يا رحمن. He said, I've said this hadith, and subhanallah, it left me. The translation of it is very difficult, so I'll leave it as is. It's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help him. That's what the translation of it. Now, the position of Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu ardah, Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu ardah, he said, when I and Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed embraced Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to treat us special. One of the things that are narrated from Khaalid ibn Al-Waleed radiallahu anhu ardah, of words of wisdom, that he said, ما أدري من أي يومي أفر يوم أراد الله أن يهدي لي فيه شهادة أو يوم أراد الله أن يهدي لي فيه كرامة. He said, I don't know from which days should I flee, should I run away. Is it from the day that Allah written for me the shahada, to be a martyr, or in the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give me a karama, a generosity, a gift, which is making the Muslim army victorious? He said, I don't know from which day should I leave, should I run away. This man radiallahu anhu ardah went to do Umrah on the 21st of Hijrah, 21st year, in 21 of the Hijrah, he went to do Umrah radiallahu anhu arda, which is the 642 of the Gregorian calendar. When he returned back radiallahu anhu arda, in Ramadan, the 18th of Ramadan of the same year, the 21st, the 20th of August, 642, this man radiallahu anhu arda died. At the deathbed radiallahu anhu arda, when he was there, he said radiallahu anhu arda, he said, I have witnessed in so many places, I have went to so many places, fought in so many places, and there is no handspan in my body without a stab or a cut from a sword. And also he said, I'm dying now on my deathbed, just like the camel will die. So those who are cowards, referring to those who do not go to fight, seeking or scared of getting killed, should not rest. Because even if you go to the battlefield, you may not get killed. And how many battlefields did he go to radiallahu anhu? And then he died radiallahu anhu. When Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu heard about his death, he said, let the ladies of Bani Makhzum cry this great man Abu Sulaiman radiallahu anhu, because he is really great. His grave is known in Hims in Syria, and beside him is his son Sulaiman, as well as Ubaydullah ibn Amr al-Khattab radiallahu anhu arda. This man died, his legacy stayed, and we still remember him radiallahu anhu arda. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Sallallahu wa sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad.